This is Andy off Boxing Social, and I'm joined by trainer John David Jackson. John, how are you doing?
Not too bad, and yourself?
I'm good, thank you. Obviously, good to hear you're doing well. Obviously, out here in Saudi Arabia, when you began your journey in boxing, would you ever envisage being out in a country like this, having a fighter on a card like this?
I never would have imagined in my wildest dreams I'd be in Saudi Arabia, but it's a beautiful country, and I love it, so it's wonderful to be here.
What have you been up to in your downtime away from training, etc.?
Just family time and being with my family. I mean, that's all. Just enjoying life without the headache of boxing.
Obviously, boxing can provide a few headaches, but one headache that you don't have to deal with is Majidov. Just talk to me about your training and your preparations for his bout with Tom Little on Saturday night.
Yes, camp was good. You know, he listens well, and he's a hell of an amateur fighter. Now I'm trying to make the transition to become a professional fighter, and things are good. He listens well, and he should do well come Saturday evening.
Talk to me about that. You know, the transition from an amateur to a professional style. Some fighters can have a brilliant amateur record and just struggle to adapt. Others can adapt like that. Why is it that some struggle and some just find it so natural?
I think some fighters may get caught in that amateur style because they don't make the transition right away, or they stay too long as an amateur. Well, other fighters, like myself, I wanted to turn pro. You know, amateur boxing was great, but it wasn't my dream. My dream to become a professional world champion. I mean, I went to the Olympics and won a gold medal, that'd been great. But I was more cut on the cloth of a professional fighter. So some amateur guys, they're good amateurs, but they just can't make that transition to become a better professional.
And just talk to me about Mo himself. What have you been preparing for ahead of Saturday night with Tom Little? How do you expect the fight to play out between the pair?
I think that Majidov needs to just be patient, work behind his jab, cut the ring off, and make Tom engage. If you make Tom engage, it makes his job easier. You don't want to chase this guy around the ring for 8 rounds and look bad. You got to cut the ring off and make him fight you. Once you do that, it makes the fight easier for Majid.
There's obviously a lot of heavyweight bouts on this card, headlined by that Ruiz-Joshua fight. There'll be a lot of people around the world tuning in to watch it, which brings an added pressure for Majidov to try and deal with. How do you feel he'll cope with that?
I think he should do well, because if you think about it, he was a 3-time world amateur champion. He's fought all over the world, fought in front of big crowds before, so this should not be a big deal for him. I mean, the magnitude of the fight and being in Saudi Arabia is different for him, but I think all in all, he should do well because he's been in that kind of pressure before.
And just talk to me about Tom Little. What do you know about Tom?
He's what you call in boxing a trial horse, a guy that you have your fighter go against and see how well he can do. And since this is on our second fight, he should be able to test us in a way that should see where we're going to go. He's durable. He's got a kind of fight you call on short notice. He's expected to win, no, but he might be able to pull off the upset if we didn't do our job. So he's a good fighter that tests young and up-and-coming fighters.
Let's just kind of work through the rest of the card. Starting off with that headline fight, Ruiz-Joshua 2. John, just break that down for me. How do you see it playing out?
I think, to me, it all bases on what Joshua does. You know, he's proven he can knock Ruiz down. He's also proven he can be beat up and get knocked out. But I think it depends on what he does, how he's mentally prepared for this fight. Physically, he's well. But mentally, what is his mental status? How is he going to prepare for it? Ruiz is Ruiz. He's a good fighter. Very dangerous guy. And highly underrated. But all's going to fall on what Joshua does. It depends on how he fights, if if he's aggressive, is he passive. So to me, it depends on how Joshua has prepared for the fight, and mentally what he can do for the fight.
AJ seems to have slimmed down a lot in preparation for his camp, a lot leaner. What do you make of that?
He probably left the weights alone. You know, he probably felt that being leaner would make him a little faster, maybe, quicker fighter. So I really couldn't tell you what's in his mind because I wasn't in his camp. But all in all, I figure if he's mentally prepared, as well as physically, he should win the fight.
Do you anticipate that the fight will have similarities or be very different to the first bout?
Honestly, I think it'll be different because I think Josh will be more. Now he knows that Ruiz can hurt him, so he might be more leery, apprehensive of engaging right away. So I think with Ruiz, the sky's the limit right now for him. His world is right now. So I think for him, he might, if he was smart, add more pressure. But Joshua has to be, in the beginning, he might be a little cautious. But he can't really let that happen because it's going to hurt him. But I think he'll be cautious in the beginning to see what Ruiz has. Ruiz might not show him anything different for a couple rounds. It's an interesting fight.
Let's move on to some of the other fights on the card. Starting off with Hunter Povetkin, a brilliant fight, one which kind of slipped under the radar. What are your thoughts on that one, John?
Him and Hunter and Povetkin, that's an interesting fight. A lot of people are saying that Povetkin's on the way down. But you have to watch out. He's still dangerous. He has a hell of a punch, and he's a good boxer. Had a great amateur career, and he made the transition real nice. Hunter, good fighter, not a big puncher. That's going to be his biggest problem. Can he hurt Povetkin? Can he get Povetkin's respect? Because Povetkin, on the other hand, will get his respect because he can punch. So it's a give and take fight. Hunter has to be smart and cagey and real slick. Povetkin has to be a pressure fighter and go to the body and break him down. So it's whichever fighter can use his will and overpower the other should win the fight.
And Dillian Whyte versus Mariusz Wach also on the undercard. What do you make of that fight and Dillian's return to the boxing ring?
Well, I'm glad that Dillian's made a return. Here's a guy, honestly, to me, he earned this shot. Not to get it for whatever reason, but he's earned this shot, and he's been avoided on more than one occasion. Here's the guy that deserves this shot. For whatever reason why he's not getting it, I know he's had a few problems also, but he's the epitome of what a fighter is today. He earned his shot the right way, and he still hasn't gotten it. I think this fight here, even though it was short notice for him, he's probably in great shape. He should be victorious.
And then the final one, I wanted to touch on Filip Pergovic versus Eric Molina again. John, just break that one down for me, please.
Molina's always been a fighter pretty much on the B side. He really stayed 8 weeks for this fight, so that's nice for him to finally get a fight where he can train a full training camp. But his opponent's young and strong, and he's the favorite. I think he should win. Molina's good, and he's crafty. He's been around for years, but I think his opponent has a better chance. He's young, strong, and hungry.
We've mentioned the likes of Dillian Whyte, Filip Pergovic, Mariusz Wach, Hunter, Povetkin, etc. How far off some of those names do you feel Mo Majidov is from facing one of those in the future, provided obviously Saturday was to go to plan? How far off do you think Mo Majidov is from facing some of the other guys that are on this card?
Boxing today, unfortunately, is a sport sometimes they rush the young fighters. But in Magomed's case, he doesn't have a lot of time to really train. His career, he's had a long amateur career, so he can't hang around long professionally. He's 33 now. How long can he hang around? So for him, it's the short road to the heavyweight title. We have to match him carefully, but yet smartly with good fighters, with good names on the way down, but that will give him the experience that he needs to climb that ladder. I think, say within a year, he should be fighting guys in the top 20. Not a world title, but in the top 20. And then the following year, maybe 2021, maybe then a world title fight. But not, you don't want to rush him too fast because he's still learning the professional game.
Well, John, I think we'll leave it there now because I can see somebody else just hovering around me, waiting to grab you. So I appreciate your time now. If I can speak to myself at Boxing Social.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time you gave me to speak on your show, and I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Thank you.